The internet is being torn apart by a huge event that recently occurred in the hip-hop industry. Jim Jones has finally done the unimaginable. After years of denial, quiet, and meticulous image management, fans are referring to this moment as the confession that put an end to an era. He revealed his longtime partner's startling truth. Even his closest friends are hesitating to remark on Chrissy Lampkin's claims since they are so outrageous and intimate. It all began with an enigmatic 29-second footage that suddenly surfaced on a private fan forum and quickly went viral on social media. Jim's voice is raw, tight, and low throughout the clip. He can be heard saying, "I didn't say anything to keep her safe, but no more." Twitter collapsed in a matter of minutes. Midstream, Instagram shuts down because no one was prepared for what would happen next. Even celebrity gossip accounts stopped posting comments. Insiders claimed that Jim's revelations went beyond a simple breakup story. It was a legendary act of treachery, disguised meetings, covert communications, and a truth that has been disguised for years under falsehoods, luxury, and allegiance. One that has the power to ruin reputations, change the course of reality TV, and make viewers reevaluate their preconceived notions about fame, love, and devotion. The most absurd part comes next. The video you just watched is just the start, because a bombshell that might end careers is about to be revealed. Jim Jones just revealed a secret that will alter everything, so stay right here. They said that Jim Jones and Chrissy Lampkin's love will endure no matter what. TV, turmoil, reality, rumors, and industry pressure. However, no one anticipated this since that image of loyalty simply blew up in the course of one disclosed discussion. Jim and his friends were recording in a dim Manhattan studio when the narrative opens. Two other witnesses reported that the rapper's phone was constantly vibrating. After an hour of ignoring it, he mumbled, "She truly believed. I don't know." No one listened until he got up, left, and went out of the booth, leaving the door swinging. 10 minutes later, a studio intern captured what would turn out to be this year's most talked about hip-hop recording. Jim was seen pacing outdoors while speaking to someone on speakerphone with a chilly tone thanks to hidden microphones from the surveillance feed. "Told you, Chrissy, you can't lie forever," he replied. Her voice trembled, followed by stillness. That one sentence set the internet on fire. "You don't understand what they made me do." Fans believed the clip was phony when it emerged 2 nights later. However, one cryptic tweet verified it. The microphone picks up everything in the dark. The world eventually lost its mind. Was he saying that Chrissy had betrayed him? Of what? In an hour, every feed was dominated by #PrayForJones and #ChryssyExposed. Insiders stated that the entire call was much worse than anyone had anticipated. Jim confronted Chrissy about what he described as a 3-year hidden arrangement, which immediately sparked rumors about money, management arrangements, and even purported partnerships behind his back. According to one producer who says he heard the raw tape. That wasn't all though. Who was the mystery man when fans realized that chaos had broken out? According to the same source, there was a second voice on the line. A male voice instructing Chrissy, "Don't say a word. It's handled." He was on the call. But why? And why? Just before the audio stopped, did Chrissy plead, "Please, not like this"? Screenshots of Jim's private WhatsApp group appeared online as reporters frantically sought answers, revealing messages such as, "She used me for access, and they set me up for views." The veracity of the messages is still up for debate, but fans insist that the timestamps and typing patterns match Jim's style. Even a former reality TV employee asserted the messages allude to a long-forgotten plot point from Love and Hip Hop New York that Sunrise supposedly asked producers to remove years ago. In an effort to find hints, thousands of fans were re-watching previous episodes. All of a sudden, every sidelong glance, disagreement, and uncomfortable pause seemed to pretend something. A TikTok user shared a thread that went viral. Jim knew the 10 indicators all along. In just 4 hours, the video had 5 million views. Then came Remy Ma, the first celebrity response. She used simply 3 words to comment on a gossip post. "Told you years." Minutes later, she removed it, but screenshots had already gone viral. That one remark set off a chain reaction. A dubious post about people trading allegiance for airtime was liked by Meek Mill. Cardi B shared a mysterious tale. "Men who write rhymes should not be played with. Your secrets will be rhymed by them." While everyone was conversing, no one was uttering names. Jim, meanwhile, disappeared. There were no sightings or posts until an Instagram Live at midnight abruptly showed up on his account. The music was low and the lighting was dim. He appeared worn out, furious, and possibly heartbroken. With his gaze fixed on the camera, he said, "I tried to protect her. However, You fake can't be built on forever. Benny spoke, a barely heard whisper. Examine the recordings. Within 20 minutes, the live cut was immediately done. A Dropbox link, purportedly holding the tapes, started making the rounds. The identity of the leaker is unknown. For audio files with the labels CL Truth 1, CL Truth 2, and so forth were contained within. One had background noise, and the other two were blank. However, the fourth and final file proved disastrous. It included a conversation about fabricating a divorce storyline for ratings between what sounded like Chrissy and a TV producer. However, the topic of discussion changed. You know, if you get him emotional, it'll go viral, the producer added. In response, Chrissy said, "He'll forgive me later. He always does." That statement weighs. Her social media accounts were inundated with comments from fans accusing her of manipulation. Others defended her, saying the leak was AI and citing editing tactics. However, the harm was instantaneous. Sponsorships disappeared. A podcast contract that was imminent was put on hold indefinitely. The treachery then became more profound. An authenticated account of one of Jim's longtime companions. After years of touring with him, a DJ shared a since-deleted tweet. "You guys have no idea how much misery it is." He discovered that the ring had more meaning than that. Theories exploded in a matter of seconds. Was he referring to the engagement ring that Chrissy famously purchased for herself on public TV? Was the secret deeper than that? According to someone, the ring had been covered by a cooperative business agreement. According to a second source, it represented a covert agreement that denied Jim ownership of one of his home improvement projects. The narrative grew. Headlines like, "Did Chrissy Lampkin use Jim Jones to secure the bag?" and "Secret deal exposed in Love and Hip Hop scandal" were featured on every gossip site. However, the most bizarre development was revealed by a reporter at The Source, who disclosed that he had been contacted for months. An unnamed woman is attempting to sell confidential recordings of Jim and producers bickering. Thinking it was a phony, he declined. It's possible that those recordings are the identical ones that are circulating on Reddit under the #Jones Tapegate tag. Chrissy finally spoke up as the confusion grew. Her voice was shaking and her face was exposed as she went live from what appeared to be her living room. She admitted, "I'm not perfect, but people need to stop acting like they know our story." She declined to respond to inquiries, but admirers saw a tall, blurry man's reflection in the background, wearing a cap that looked remarkably like Jim's manager, Don's. Everything had gone nuclear by the time freeze frames surfaced, which claimed he mouthed the words, "Turn it off." PDFs of previous contracts were released by anonymous accounts posing as former VH1 insiders, implying that entire seasons of their romance were staged to conceal a private breakup. The story, true or not, could not be stopped. Comment sections become battlefields. They are now accused of being Hollywood's longest-running deception by fans, who earlier referred to them as the model for hip-hop love. But something else was bubbling behind the indignation: compassion. Jim mentioned in old interviews that he was sick of being the antagonist. Chrissy also admitted she sometimes didn't recognize who I became for love. Previously endearing clips now appear tragic, even prophetic. Then another tape came to light, just as fans were beginning to believe the narrative had reached its climax. Purportedly from a phone conversation between Jim and his mother. Jim responds, "Ma, it wasn't TV. It was her." You can sense the anguish in his voice as his mother says, "I warned you about letting TV raise your relationship." Chrissy was photographed by paparazzi outside her flat the following morning looking upset and using sunglasses to cover her tears. When asked if she would talk to Jim once more, she merely remarked, "If he still believes in love, he knows where I am." The video went viral, but the tale continued to escalate when another clip was leaked from the same Dropbox folder that one fan hadn't yet viewed that afternoon. The night of Jim's last studio session prior to the scandal was the same as the timestamp. He was overheard conversing with someone. Camera stating, "They'll call it gossip, but it's truth. They'll realize why I had to set everything on fire when they hear it." The phrase "burn it all down" became the week's, and they hear it. The phrase "burn it all down" became the week's catchphrase. Memes, remixes, t-shirts, and even celebrities began utilizing it. One eerie query brought the entire internet together. What did Jim Jones mean when he said that everything should be burned down? Because there is still one recording that no one has heard yet, according to recent insider rumors. A tape that, if authentic, has the power to change viewers' perceptions of the romantic tale that shaped a whole generation of hip-hop reality television. One rumor started to circulate around band circles as murmurs got stronger. The final tape is about retaliation, not treachery, is not about treachery. Retaliation is at issue. The #burn it all down became a movement by the time daybreak arrived. It was being quoted in captions by fans. It was being slipped into freestyles by rappers. Additionally, whole podcasts were being streamed live in an attempt to decipher every single one of Jim Jones's obscure remarks. However, nothing at all prepared the internet for the following step. 10 in the morning. Man, unconfirmed Twitter handle posted a thread titled "The Lost Tape" under the name Real Truth Vault. It received more than 100,000 retweets in a matter of minutes. The thread purportedly included excerpts from the final recording Jim supposedly stated that had been transcribed. Everyone was shivering just reading the first line. That was not how she was expected to find out. However, she had me hold her hand. A scene from a thriller was depicted in the following lines. The fans went crazy when Jim confronted an unidentified producer and said, "I know what y'all did with that footage. How much she got paid to humiliate me on national TV." Was this his retaliation? As promised, screenshots of Chrissy and a network's direct messages. Screenshots of her supposedly negotiating to sell were abruptly made public by executives. Unique behind-scenes contempt. You'll get your own spin-off if you make it emotional, the executive stated in one communication, and Chrissy claimed to have responded. "Don't worry, I'll make him cry." The screenshots, whether authentic or fake, were more powerful than any other. Disbelief inundated the forums. A well-known reality TV blogger said he had a conversation with a sound engineer who checked the metadata of the audio. "It's legit," he wrote on Twitter. Jim was telling the truth. Jim eventually broke his quiet once more that afternoon, but this time without using words. He just uploaded one picture to Instagram, a smoldering magic next to an old engagement picture, just the image of the flame consuming the photo, no hashtags, no caption. Within 20 minutes, 2 million people liked the post. Stars jumped in. When loyalty backfires, 50 Cent said, Chrissy's world was falling apart, and even Fat Joe retweeted it with the message, "Real pain make real bars." While on a phone call, stylist Tasha K., a close friend of hers, unintentionally went live and viewers heard Chrissy's background sobbing. She sobbed. He wasn't supposed to tell that part. The internet went into detective mode after reading the words. He knows the cameras weren't the real secret. What is the true secret? What was worse than the already discovered betrayal? Ours fans noticed something odd. Even though TMZ later reported that Jim had canceled all of his scheduled appearances for the month, he and a video crew were seen exiting a recording studio. His jacket was fastened with microphones. He was filming his own documentary reaction. According to a flurry of rumors, the Shade Room was informed by an informant that he's not only clearing his name, he's rewriting the story. He has receipts that will cause people to reconsider who was the bad guy. As the commotion increased, a new leak surfaced on TikTok. A 2-minute voice memo purportedly from Chrissy to one of her confidants. Her tone was desperate, and she claimed that he wasn't supposed to be aware of Miami. "They told me," fans speculated that she had secretly signed a separate deal with another network while still under Jim's brand, while others thought it was about an endorsement scandal involving missing money. "It was just business," said one fan. And now he's threatening to drop the contract email. The internet split into armies with Team Jim, Team Chrissy, and a growing movement named Team Truth demanding that both release everything. Instagram Lives struck. Twitter Spaces were filled with yelling battles, and nobody knew for sure. But everyone knew something big was developing by sunset. 500,000 people watched. And one fan even live-streamed themselves driving past Jim's studio to check if smoke was rising. Then, as if fate had planned it, the unthinkable occurred. A private home video clip called "The Night Everything Changed" was uploaded by a YouTube channel called The Vault. Chrissy and Jim are shown in their living room in a video that seems to be taken years ago. She comments, "You keep chasing music that doesn't pay the bills." She cries, "Then stop lying to the world about us." "I chase truth, not fame," he responds. Within hours, bloggers assembled a timeline revealing covert splits. But the footage also confirmed what everyone suspected: their love had been deteriorating long before reality TV ever touched it. The camera cuts off just as a glass breaks, sending shockwaves through the fandom and humanizing them. Every leak depicted a couple who constructed a palace out of love and then set it on fire for ratings. And just as fury began to give way to empathy, the next surprise came like a meteor. An email blast was sent to entertainment, private reconciliations, and undisclosed treatment sessions. The story abruptly changed after an anonymous sender sent journalists blurry photos of Jim arm in arm with an unidentified woman, timestamped 6 months prior to the alleged recordings with the subject line "Proof of Infidelity." The sender said Chrissy found the photos first and agreed to sabotage him on camera because of them. Talk programs jumped down the turnaround, with Wendy Williams spending an entire segment leaning forward and saying, "You mean to tell me Chrissy wasn't the genius Jim was? Was Jim the traitor all along? Did he go public first to control the damage?" The video became viral and the comments were harsh. One viewer commented, "But the plot thickened, leaving us unsure of whom to believe." That same evening, a group text that had been posted on Twitter showed Jim responding to the buddies. "She got pictures. Let her drop them. I obtained the video. The truth ain't pretty, but it's mine." The note said, as Chrissy shared a single Instagram story with a black backdrop and white lettering that said, "You can't play victim and villain at the same time." Fans screamed. He wasn't denying the photographs. Rather, he was daring her to disclose them inside, then stop reading from the script. Jim counterposted in the minutes. A former cast member of Love and Hip Hop said it was open digital warfare, modern-day love letters written in subtweets and shade. The energy online was electric. Every time someone thought the storm was dying down, another lightning bolt struck. That raw version, the real footage, was rumored to be part of Jim's upcoming documentary. Then, late into the night, one last leak hit like a grenade. A 30-second teaser. It was said that producers once filmed an entire engagement scene redo because Chrissy was crying for real. Not TV crying, and they forced her to redo it to look glamorous. Uploaded to an unidentified Vimeo account called The Truth Director's Cut. Jim's words over slow piano keys launched the video, which then featured short flashes of a strange silhouette camera, a destroyed ring box, and a burning contract. "They told me that love was meant to cure, but they never stated that it could kill." One sentence was written in red at the end of the video. "Tomorrow, everyone learns." Hip-hop Twitter quickly changed into a countdown clock as fans pleaded for hints about what would be released tomorrow. A song, a documentary, or a confession. Reporters set up camp outside studios. And when users searched for Jim Jones' The Truth, Spotify's algorithm messed up, displaying a placeholder track for a moment before disappearing. Was that the release, or was it bait? No one knew. Everyone knew the explosion was imminent, but no one could predict who would survive it. By dawn, Jim's page was complete.